Motorsport 411 presents
all the four- and two-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
Welcome to Motorsport 411, your home for all your four- and two-wheel action in Africa. Coming up in this episode, we find out all about the second Rallycross exhibition event that was held in Machakos over the weekend. And we speak to driver Guy Botterill, who competed in the South Africa Cross Country Series and the South Africa Rally Championship.
All the four- and two-wheeled action. Motorsport 411.
Welcome to the episode. So the second Rallycross exhibition event was held over the weekend at Machakos People's Park. It was the Duma team of Carl Tundo, Tash Tundo, Joseph Gacheche and Baldev Chaga that won the event. After the event, I got to speak to the co-founders. Proud to have Flash Tundo and Tim Jessop, the co-founders of the Rallycross, the second edition, having been held here in Machakos. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Flash, first of all, overall victory as well. How did it go for you guys this weekend?
No, it was good fun. It was really good. I mean, I think moving me from champions to veterans is more my scene. I had to race against much older people, so I'll put it down to the other guys in my team. Tash performed really well, especially in the final. Joseph did an awesome job, and Baldy obviously is a natural, so chuffed.
Tim, you involved more from the organising committee this weekend. You took a break from the driving, but it looks like it was a very, very successful event.
Yeah, very much. I mean, obviously we'll get some feedback from people on where we can improve, but from the last one, and that's why I sort of took a step back from winning, really. No, but Flash works hard on the sponsor side, and it's only rightly my duty to sort of run the day. So with Raju and his team, Raju Chaga and his team did a phenomenal job, and Anna from Events Africa and Leroy put it all together, because there's so much behind the scene with vendors and VIPs, and the entertainment side it needs a completely different team. So thanks to those guys, hats off to them, they did an awesome job.
It really looks like you guys are finding your niche in terms of what to do after rallying, so to speak. Of course, we'll still see you in the car from time to time, but it looks like you're finding your niche in terms of what to do with motorsport. Yeah,
Rallycross is, you just saw today, you've got a man who's a junior in a two-wheel drive and racing up against veterans. It's the platform to bring in new blood, train them up, get them to know motorsport, what's coming when they go into the KNRC sort of scene. And Flash being on the focus panel as well can also take some of what we've learnt from this into the KNRC side to get more entries in. So I think it's a win-win.
Flash, you must be immensely proud, seeing what's happened this weekend.
Yeah, I am. I am really proud, actually. It was a dream that we've sort of had sitting in the rally car. To put it together, we said it would be hard work, and it has been hard work, but you can see the benefit here. Guys can come and actually get exposure, they can get known, they can get seen. Joseph's now a household name, and hopefully we just need to get more competitors and more people to come and watch this. I was super chuffed with how many people came out, but we just need a bit more spectators, viewers and stuff, and I think it'll be a special form of motorsport.
Yeah, it is a challenge to try and get people here. What do you think it is in terms of trying to get people to come and spectate?
You know what I think a lot of people aren't grasping at the moment? This is a family weekend, not just the racing. You can bring kids here. We've got entertainment village, little electric quad bikes. You can bring your dog for the weekend walk. It's a relaxed atmosphere, and that's what it's not a normal rally, which is multiple stages. We're in one area, you don't have to move, safe car park, safe environment, kids can run around, and it's a family event, and that's what RX is all about.
Flash, tweaks done to the track in terms of trying to make the racing tighter. It looked like it worked.
Yeah, I think it did, actually, bringing the track together, closer, more compact, a bit wider, overtaking spots, wet areas, dry areas. Is a full mix. I think it really did work. I'm happy with it.
It was emphasized during the driver's briefing, no torpedoes, respect the competition and all that, and that was largely respected.
You know, everyone understands that, and you know, if you've got a bit of etiquette, you're not out there to destroy your car as well, because remember, if you touch a car, you're also damaging your own car. So you know, I think it's a natural feeling in the car. You don't want to destroy everyone else's race. You just want to go out there and have fun, and I really hope that concept carries on with this. I really hope it does. Yes, we need the competitive edge and spirit, but I hope the fun side of it just continues, because that's what it's about.
Tim?
It's actually amazing, you know, some of the new guys who joined up this year, they've obviously been watching Rallycross, and they came in with that spirit, which is right, which is a little bit of rubbing and bumping is fine, sort of sharing paint, but no torpedoes, no aggressiveness, and the drivers did an awesome job today. And I think that's what we will keep. But it's getting people out here. It's not just a driver event, it's a family event. So we got to get everybody out here to come and watch this, because it is good fun.
A lot of emphasis was placed on maintaining the track. You had the water bowser, which actually turned out to be probably one of the heroes of the event, so to speak, because the conditions of the track were changing all the time, and it caught a lot of drivers out.
Yeah, you know, you don't want dust everywhere, that people don't enjoy themselves and covered in dust. And so yeah, we spent a lot of time and effort on getting the bowsering after every kind of heat, so the drivers can enjoy themselves and not get caught up in dust bowls, but also for the spectators to enjoy themselves. And again, that's what it's about. It's about drivers and spectators.
Good to see a number of drivers out here, you know, some we haven't seen in a while. Good to see them. Some of the current drivers missing, the likes of Raji Barrage, Karan Patel, who was at the last Rallycross. Are you planning on trying to get maybe some of the current drivers in the Kenya National Rally Championship out here?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, it's up to them. They've got to come and sort of understand what it's about. Karan there were rumours that he was going to come, but again, you know, he's concentrating on his rallying, and so be it. You know, that's a good thing to concentrate on. I saw his dad here, which is awesome. You know, it is what it is. Slowly people will come and hopefully get involved.
Finally, it looks like there are big plans. I'll start off with you, Flash, in terms of four competitions in 2023. Just tell us a little bit about that.
You know, it's a work in progress. This was the plan this year, to have 2 exhibitions to get everyone to see what it's all about. And hopefully next year it's going back to the drawing board, working out what worked, what didn't. But our aim is to have 4 events, whether it's part of the motorsport calendar. To me, it doesn't matter. We are going to try and run 4 events a year next year, and hopefully it'll be embraced, you know, in the calendar. We will look at the calendar and try and fit in dates where it doesn't mix with other motorsports disciplines. But yeah, well, let's see if we can do it.
Tim, any final words?
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to running 4 next year. We're going to try and improve. And obviously, as a result of that, more drivers get more awareness out there. Their sponsors get more awareness. We can bring in some more sponsors, hopefully stay with Batika. Grow it.
That's co-founders of the Rallycross exhibition event, Carl Tundo and Tim Jessop. We'll be back.
All the 4 and 2-wheeled action.
Motorsport 411.
So welcome back. Now, Guy Botterill has been making waves in both the South Africa Cross Country Series and the South Africa Rally Championship. I got to speak to him recently. Guy, thank you very much for speaking to us on Motorsport 411. The seasons are now over for both the Cross Country Series and the National Rally Series. How would you classify them?
We had a very long season doing both championships, the off-road and the rally championship. I'll start with the off-road. It was our first year in the T1 Plus Dakar Hilux Bakkie, which was an incredible learning curve for us. We learned a lot. So I also bought my navigator Simon from rallying. So we were both fairly rookies in that discipline of sport. Very different navigation style to how rally works, what we used to. So that took a bit of time to get used to it. And I think we had a phenomenal season. We ended up being third overall, a couple points behind second. And at one stage, we possibly, if we didn't have any bad luck, we could have maybe have been fighting for the championship, top steps. So we were very happy with the overall results of the championship in the off-road vehicle. And then in the rally series, this was the first year that we raced our own built Toyota Starlet, the 2-litre turbo, and also a challenging year for us. We had quite a few teething issues in the beginning of the season, and we managed to sort them all out towards the end of the season. And we're very happy with us finishing second in the championship, considering the teething issues that we had at the beginning of the year that put us out of a number of rounds, where we have been winning every single race this year, and unfortunately one or two small teething problems put us out. So for us to finish second in that championship as a relatively new car building workshop, it's a very different thing to prep a car as opposed to building a car. So we've learned a lot, and I think the team can be very proud of what we've built, and we put ourselves in a very good position for the next season.
It's an incredible story, the story of you building this car from scratch. Just tell us about the challenges you had in putting the car together for the rally.
Well, it's an incredible challenge. We didn't realize how difficult it was. We had two engineers working for a year, designing the car, doing all the computer work for a year before we started machining one component. So it was a long process, and everyone that was involved had never built a car before. They had been involved in building parts of cars, but never starting with a blank piece of paper, and that was incredibly difficult. So not only did we have to build a car, we had to build a team that can build a car, and we also then had to build a workshop. When we started, we didn't have a workshop facility that was good enough to build a car. So when we took on the project, we had to build a team, we had to build a workshop facility that can build a car, plus all the equipment that went into it, plus all the computer programs, plus the engineers that have been involved. So it's been a very long and challenging road, but with motorsport the development never ends, but we've certainly we chewed off quite a lot, and we managed to get through it, and for us to finish second in the championship in our very first year, I think is phenomenal. The crew is very happy with the results and very happy with the performance of the car and the things to come in the future. So it's looking pretty good.
Now, when we last spoke, there was the question of homologation. How far can you go with this car? Africa Rally Championship, what about the WRC Safari Rally?
So that is still the question. I'm still under pressure with that. We're going to have to homologate the car early next year. I have been putting the homologation off because the moment it's homologated, it becomes a little bit more difficult to change things, especially when you're having teething issues. So we've purposely put the homologation off for as long as possible, but I would imagine by March next year the homologation will be completed. There is a clause in the South African rules where it says any South African built and homologated car will have dispensation to run in the African Rally Championship. And that is most certainly the rule that we are going to push really hard to get it allowed to race in the African Rally Championship. And for the Kenyan WRC, we would certainly like to be in a position where we could race in it. Maybe next year, even if we don't score any points, or we race in the open class just to gain experience and to develop the car further. would most certainly be something that we would like to do. But unfortunately, our racing program is not 100% confirmed for next year. So we're not sure where we will be racing or what we would be racing at this point. But I should imagine by early January that will all be finalized, and we'll let people know where we will be racing.
Now, in terms of the National Rally Championship, what class are you racing under?
So South Africa have opened their rules slightly. So what we've been allowed to do is we are racing in a series in a class called NRC1, which is basically the open class. And the open class has got some rules, and they've allowed us to race this year with an understanding of the rules. And we have been very, very open with what we've done. And every time we do something to the car, we let the officials know. We're trying to build a car that will grow the sport. And I said to the guys, unfortunately, for us to homologate a car straight away would be very hampering, and it wouldn't allow us to do the development that we've done over this year, and it might come back and hurt us in the future. So they have allowed us to race this year with a dispensation, as long as we've been open with everything that we've done, and we have done that. Every time we've changed the car or done something, we've let the officials know, so everything is documented. And all we would need to do now is just finalize the homologation. So they've allowed us to race in the NRC1, which is the main premier class in South Africa, which is the four-wheel drive class.
I'm in absolute awe what you guys are doing behind the scenes. When you said you had teething problems, what sort of teething problems did you have this season?
Oh, we had many. We had an injector failure twice, which is a bit strange. We've had an oil pump for steering hydraulic steering pump failure. We've had a lower control arm failure. We've had a fuel pump failure. So all of those things are not major, like the design has been completely wrong, but every single one of those items has managed to put us out of the rally in its own various ways. So the teething issues that we've had have been small issues, but unfortunately they have hampered the year's result and put us out of all the rallies. So but we're not concerned about those issues because every single one of the small teething issues we've had has been easily resolved, and we just needed to understand why did that part fail, and then obviously engineer a slightly different part or use it in a different way. So it hasn't been catastrophic failures, which has been really promising.
Guy, it's been well documented that rallying has been struggling in South Africa. In fact, you didn't even have the round of the Africa Rally Championship in South Africa. How are the numbers in terms of entries?
So South Africa is definitely on the mend. Things are looking up. This year we had I think 5 four-wheel drive cars in the main class, which is not bad considering last year we only had 2. There are new cars being built currently right now. So we are hoping by the end of next year we'll be between 8 and 10 four-wheel drive cars and proper four-wheel drive cars, modern cars, all built to the same spec that we've been working on this year. So we're building some more cars. There are other people also building cars, and within the rules and the understanding of what we've been doing, it is allowing other people to build cars to a similar spec to what we've done. Nothing is easy, but in more relatively easy way as a R5 or an R4. So it certainly opens up the market for people to build cars and get more vehicles into the market. It's difficult to grow a sport when there are no vehicles available. That's one of the issues across Africa. People want to get involved in rallying, but to find a car and to buy a car, even if you've got the budget to buy a car, is incredibly difficult. So we're hoping to bridge the gap with manufacturing cars. So next year, rally in South Africa is looking pretty strong. We're hoping to have about 8 or 10 proper four-wheel drive cars in the system, and what that allows, a lot of the guys have come out of more entry-level cars, and they would then obviously sell their entry-level cars to newer people, so it'll bring new people into rallying. So the top class is not the class that's only growing, because people sell their cars to move up into the next class, and it starts this whole feeder process, which has just started to happen in South Africa, which is very exciting.
What is the Federation doing to increase the numbers?
So the Federation has done a fantastic job this year. Every single event that we have been to this year has been phenomenal. It's really been world class. Even the last event that we've just done now, the track rally, which was meant to be part of the ARC, was probably better than many ARCs that we've been to in the past. So the Federation is making sure that the events are very well advertised, very well supported, and it is allowing the competitors the prestigeness to race in an event like that, which makes it easier to find sponsors and find people to back you. Also, the Federation allowed me to build this current spec car, which will allow people moving from a smaller class up to a bigger class, which will allow the movement of the lower end cars to be sold, because a lot of people think you need to start a grassroots program to get rallying going, but you also need the top step for people to sell their grassroots car to get into the next step and build the platform. So there has been a lot of work happening behind the scenes to get the ball rolling again in South Africa, and unfortunately these things take a long time. They take a good number of years, last night we had the official prize giving for the year for the championship, and everybody said they can feel something special is happening. Next year is going to be a really good year for rallying in South Africa, because all the changes that the Commission has made over a number of 3 years is just starting to get going again now, and you can feel it and see it, so it's exciting.
Onto the cross-country championship, and it's been a real learning curve for you and Simon in terms of learning this car. It is essentially a Dakar car. Of course, it's Simon Vasey-Lyle who's your navigator. Just tell us how it was this season for you.
We had a really good season. We got into the Dakar Bakkie literally a few days before the first race, because when the Dakar is finished, they sea freight the vehicles back to South Africa, and our car was delayed slightly from the Dakar. The shipping was delayed, so we literally had 3 days before the first event, and we took to it like duck to water with the new car, the bigger wheels, and the V6 twin turbo motor is different to the V8 that we ran the previous year, and we really had a good season. We had two issues. The first race we had a gear selector break, so we were stuck in third gear for over 150 kilometers, and in 2 events past, we unfortunately there was a back marker that had an accident in the previous loop, and he left his car in a blind corner unmarked, and unfortunately Simon and I came round and we collected his car, damaging our car, putting us out of the race. So with those 2 bad finishes, for us to fight back and come third, we were really happy about that. The last event was treacherous. It was unbelievable. It was almost flooding. The area that we were racing in had torrential rain, and I was really glad to be in a Dakar Hilux bucky to pull ourselves through the mud and everything. And Simon and I found ourselves first on the road for about 100 kilometers, opening the road. And off-road is very different to rallying, where obviously we call it off-road because there is no road, and you're literally driving through the bushveld with no road, and you're finding the first car is always making the road. So it's very difficult for navigation. It's very difficult to drive because you're never sure if there's a tree stump, a rock, even an anthill in the long grass, and those things are devastating to a car. So for us to do so well in the last event, where we opened the road for the first time, Simon did a fantastic job navigating us through these terrible conditions, and we finished the season in third position overall, with Janiel de Villiers, South Africa's Dakar champion. He won it, closely followed by Henk Lategong, and then myself a couple points behind. So we're really happy with that. And next week we are off to Namibia to go and practice and test in the desert in the sand dunes for a week before the Dakar. Unfortunately, I am not going to Dakar this year. I will be testing with the guys. So Nasser Alatia, Janiel de Villiers, and Henk will be going to the Dakar, and we will all be in Namibia next weekend testing and developing and getting the car set up for the sand in Saudi Arabia. So very fortunate to be part of the team that will be going to Namibia, and hopefully the following year, maybe we'll be knocking on the door to go to Dakar.
I was just going to talk about that. The cross-country series, is that used as a testing bed for the Dakar? And secondly, you must be really excited to be going to Namibia testing with these legends.
Yes, so it is 100% used for testing for the Dakar and testing for the cross-country world championship overseas. Nasser Alatia has just won the world championship, and for a South African-built car to win a world championship, I stand to be corrected, but I think that's the first time a South African or African-built car has ever won a world championship. So that is a huge feather in our caps in South Africa and even Africa, to be involved in a program that we're producing cars that can win a world championship. And all the development is done in the South African cross-country series, and that is why it is so competitive. We've got the Fords in South Africa, we've got Century Racing, we've got the Toyotas obviously, and there are also quite a few other privateer smaller companies building cars to also partake in the Dakar. So the South African cross-country series is incredibly competitive because it's a real testing ground for the Dakar, and a large majority of the Dakar vehicles are built in South Africa, although they're driven by foreign drivers, but the majority of the cars are built in South Africa, which is amazing. And for me to go to Namibia to sit next to and also drive with Nasser Alatia, Janiel de Villiers and Henk Lategong, and learn how they drive in the sand dunes, and just be a part of the team is a huge benefit for me and Simon going forward into the future.
Looking at the vehicles, we're really privileged to watch it on Supersport. It looks like a space shuttle inside. All the gadgets you see right across the dashboard. How long did it take for you to get used to using all those gadgets?
I'm still not used to it. We went through a water splash. At the last event, and I couldn't find the windscreen wipers in the maze of all the buttons, and we drove for a couple hundred meters trying to find the windscreen wipers. So there's buttons everywhere. There's lots of fail safe, so if a system fails, you can switch to another system. The car's incredibly advanced. There's when you get the car, and there's a whole user manual that you have to read and you have to understand, and systems work with a different, you got to have this system on to work with the next system, and it's fairly complicated, but once you've been in the car a couple times, you get to learn how it works and what everything should do. But it's really a phenomenal car. The navigation, so all those buttons that you were talking about, the off-road is very strict on speed limits. So for example, if you are on an open flat desert road and the speed limit is 160 kilometers an hour, you can actually set a cruise control speed limit in the car while you're driving to be just below 160 kilometers an hour, because if you go 1 kilometer an hour over, there's zero tolerance. So you need to be very, very careful, and you can set that on the dashboard while you're going. And the reason why they do that is because if you're driving on a tar road, there's no friction whatsoever, and when you're driving on basically a sand dune or a very soft sand road, and you need to get as close as you can to the speed limit, you can up the speed limit or up the power of the engine to get to the speed limit that you require, and that is actually on the stage, because if you've got a maximum speed limit of 160 k's an hour and you've set your cruise control at the wrong speed, you can be doing 155 k's an hour and someone else is doing 4 kilometers an hour quicker than you over a distance of 5 kilometers. It makes a huge difference at the end. So the navigator plays a huge role. He's playing with all those buttons. He's got 2 GPSs in front of him. So it is a really big job to keep those cars in the right direction and to stay within the rules and within all the speed limits. So it's very tricky.
Just a couple of weeks ago, we spoke to another competitor for the Dakar from Southern Africa, Botswana's Ross Branch. Your thoughts on him competing in the Dakar?
Ross is really great. He really hangs it out all the time. He's competed in many big events, and I think he just needs a bit of good luck. I don't think we've seen him properly at the Dakar where he hasn't had any issues, but I really think if he goes to this Dakar and has a good clean run, he'll be right up there with the best of guys. What do they call him? The Kalahari Ferrari. So he's really a good guy, and we're really hoping that he has a clean run to show his true colors.
All right, and finally, congratulations from Motorsport 411 to you and your wife. You recently became a father. How are you coping with the family life, and then you got the cross country and the rally series?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm recently a father. Luckily, my wife comes from a motor racing family, so she totally understands motorsport and the time away from home. I've basically just been away for a whole week, and then next week I'm away again for a week again. So, family life for me, unfortunately, is 1 week at a time. But unfortunately, it is just the job that we are in and the job that we do. And thank goodness I've got an amazing wife that totally understands what we're trying to do and what the end goal is, and the dedication that it requires to race at this level and to perform on the bigger stages out there. You need to spend the time in the cars, and you need to be out there racing as much as you can. So I'm very, very fortunate to have a wife that understands.
Guy Botterill, as always, thank you so much for speaking to us on Motorsport 411. The best of luck to you and Simon for 2023.
Thank you so much, and thank you for all the support over the year.
That's South African cross-country and rally driver Guy Botterill. We'll be back.
Motorsports 411 with Sean Cardovillis.
So that's it for the show this week. Our thanks once again to Carl Tundo and Tim Jessop, and also Guy Botterill in South Africa. Our thanks as always to Big City Studio. I'm Sean Cardovillis. See you next week.